Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news update show. We've got some updates on the new owner situation. Sources have spoken about the two leading parties in the race to Manchester United and who is winning the race, who's closest to buying Manchester United. We will get into that. PSG have spoken about buying Marcus Rashford, who will be leaving United on a free in the summer if a new contract isn't met. Because of his form at the World Cup, Rashford has options, so will he put pen to paper or could he leave Manchester United in the summer? Another player who reportedly Real Madrid are trying to speak to is Alejandro Garnacho. Again, United want him to pin pen to paper, but he could be tempted by a move to Los Blancos. We've got other news coming in on Cody Gakpo and João Felix and a lot of big stories going about as well. Gaz has said a disgustingly difficult question to ask, but would you take the Glazers leaving if it meant Ten Hag got the sack? I would. And you know what? I love Ten Hag. I absolutely love Ten Hag. But if it was keep Ten Hag and keep the Glazers or get rid of both, I'd have to get rid of both. As much as I love Ten Hag, I'd almost do anything to get rid of the Glazers. Honestly, there's a lot of things I would do to get rid of the Glazers that I wouldn't normally do. And I wouldn't want to sack Ten Hag. I do like Ten Hag, but if it meant getting rid of the Glazers, then that would be a yes as well. United won't buy in January. Glazers' skin. I think we will buy in January. The Glazers, I believe, will still be the Man United owners in January. It's been reported that the new owners are likely to come in spring. So I think the Glazers will likely be the new owners in January, but I think the Glazers will be the owners in January. I think the new owners will come end of the season spring, but I do think the Glazers will buy because I think they've realised Ronaldo's left and they kind of have to buy. They probably also think if United are on track, they can increase the value of the club. If they buy someone, they can get a little bit more money for it. The club is worth a little bit more. So I think we'll buy, but I don't think we'll buy two free signings like Ten Hag wants. I think it'll be one signing. The problem is PSV are trying to start a bidding war for Cody Gakpo, see if they can basically milk the bank for Cody Gakpo. PSV very much taking advantage of, the World Cup and Cody Gakpo's form. So although that's who Ten Hag wants and that's who United looks set to sign, and I think Romano said United are in talks with Gakpo, still ongoing, leading the race, but there's other teams. I think in terms of January, it's difficult. We will touch upon the João Felix, Gakpo, and Memphis Depay news to Manchester United in a second, but I do want to go into the new owner stories. Gakpo or Felix, I'd probably edge towards Gakpo as well. And Ten Hag won't get sacked if I was a Man United fan. I don't think new owners would sack Ten Hag. Fabrizio Romano said if Man United got new owners, the board would change. And that was said by Fabrizio Romano. But I don't think that I don't think new owners would get rid of Ten Hag unless they're stupid as well. Arsenal beat Lyon 3-0, are going to be strong, and Man U play Arsenal next month. I tell you what, Arsenal, I can't let them win the league. They are looking really strong. The thing about Arsenal is a lot of their players haven't really been at the World Cup, or their players that were at the World Cup, like Thomas Partey, idiot, got knocked out early. So Arsenal have been quite lucky in the sense that the majority of their players are pretty much back from the World Cup now as well. I think Garnacho is a bit misinformed journalist. His deal is to 2024 with an option of a year. Just don't want to give him a wage increase. Yeah, the Garnacho situation we're going to address now. I don't think Garnacho and Rashford will leave. Just want to clarify, I don't think Garnacho and Rashford will leave, but United need to be careful. So, PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi on signing Marcus Rashford said maybe summer, why not? But today he is a free agent. We can talk to him directly, but we are not going to talk to him now. Let's focus on the World Cup and hopefully in January we'll talk to him. So PSG literally have come out and said, we'll talk to Rashford in January. We want Rashford. This isn't like a news report. This is fucking PSG president. Like, yeah, we'll talk to Rashford. PSG want him. He said to have Rashford for free, every club would run after him. Definitely. There's no hiding it. We spoke before on the interest. The moment was not a good moment for both sides. And he's just revealed that he spoke to Rashford before and he wants Rashford. And United have got to be really careful because Dalot, Rashford are two players that are going to be swooped up. And United need to make sure they get that new contract signed. United need to control the Garnacho situation as well. Real Madrid very, very interested in Garnacho, coming from very, very good sources. And I don't think we'll lose Rashford, and I don't think we'll lose Garnacho, and I don't think we'll lose Dalot, but it's possible because nothing's happening on that end. And they're all good at the World Cup. They're all playing well. And this is the one thing is, like, all our players that are playing well, they're actually wanted. All our shit players that we want to get rid of, no one wants. All our players we want to keep, people want them. And United need to be careful because we've got a lot of deals. We've got De Gea's contract running low, Luke Shaw, Fred, lots and lots of people. So United do need to be very careful. I do want to dive into the new owner news in just a second. PSG didn't really say anything other than the manager hasn't said about giving player. PSG do want Rashford, and I think if Rashford was available on a free, they'd go for him like they did with Paul Pogba. But I do think Rashford is committed to United, and I think Rashford's seen what's happened under Ten Hag, and I think Rashford likes Ten Hag, and I think Rashford will probably stay at United. Same with Garnacho. I think it would be silly to leave Man United after half a good season or one good season. Like Delot, he's had the best season of his career at United. I think it would be a risk to leave. I think when it's going so well under Ten Hag, but you never know as well with these players as well. And PSG have been wanting Rashford for years, and he's still here. It reminds me back in the day when teams wanted Scholes, Giggs, and Keane, and they went nowhere. I do think with Ten Hag and the fact that he's building something at United as well, we're more likely to keep players. Fred and Scott need to be upgraded. United need a better midfield, 100%. I mean, I'd love Bellingham, but realistically, we need pivot players. We've got Casemiro, who's fantastic, but we need a Frankie de Jong style player. We need maybe a Moises Caicedo, and Enzo Fernandez would be brilliant. Jude Bellingham and a more advanced role would be absolutely fantastic. But United do need midfielders. My thought process, and I will get into new owners and transfer news in a sec, would be Gakpo in January and Frimpong in January to just back up Delot. That would be brilliant. I think in the summer I would go for Vlahovic, just because I like Osimhen, but I think Vlahovic could be more affordable. And then I would probably go for Enzo Fernandez or De Jong. Ideally both. I actually think we need two midfielders and get rid of one and put Fred. Diogo Costa, and probably look at someone like Kim and Jay. But that's just my thought process as well. Hi, Alice. I'm not so worried about speculations. It comes with good players. I'm more interested in how Arnold's going to get rid of the deadwood as well as proper reinforcements. Yeah, I agree. I'm not too worried about this either. The thing is, I'm hoping, and Romano said if United get new owners, it's likely the board will change. I'm hoping in the summer we won't be having to worry about Murta and Arnold doing the shit they do in the transfer window, because Murta and Arnold were absolutely useless in the last transfer window. And I'm hoping this summer we won't have to worry about that stuff either as well. Alice Waffles, Rashford ain't leaving, fake report. I've never said Rashford is leaving. I've said Rashford leaving on a free ? Because that is, he could leave on a free in the summer. I've never said that he is leaving. I'm just saying, there are rumours. And I have to say today, a lot of news has come out. Like, we haven't done many live streams in the last probably 10 days. I think we've done like 3 or 4 compared to probably 8 that we'd normally do in a 10-day period. And that's because the news has been quite dead. There's just been news, but it's like 1 or 2 topics. So I very much have done a lot of short videos rather than live streams lately. But today, I tell you what, something's happened today. Man United decided not to release like 1 or 2 stories. Man United have released more news today than I think they've done in the last 6 days. I mean, the amount of stories that's come out today. We've got an action-packed show. We've got new owners news. We've got transfer news. We've got Garnacho news. We've got Maguire coming out doing an interview. We've got news about Ten Hag, the games, Martial update. Athletic have done a good report behind the scenes. I swear today, Man United have dropped like 6 stories. They've probably seen the social media interactions are down, and Man United they've released news story after news story. Are we upgrading Rashford and Martial to 350k a week? They deserve it more than Messi and Mbappe. I mean, the money we pay is crazy. And as Gaz Elliott says, Murta and Arnold are the Chuckle brothers. They went to Barcelona on a boozer and they didn't get De Jong. Barca said De Jong is staying. I think that's more likely to happen as well. And didn't Ralph want Caicedo and Enzo? And Caicedo we were linked to before Ralph, but he did like Enzo Fernandez. And I would have liked it as well. And there's 0 chance any of the board are retained under new owners, yeah. Unless the new owners are Glazers 2.0, that board would 100% go. Because, I mean, the fact that they went to Barcelona, had a beer with some fans and were like, Frankie de Jong, yeah. Where's Frankie de Jong? Where's Frankie de Jong? Did you keep the receipt? Nah, you didn't keep the receipt. No, what have we done? Honestly. So are the Glazers selling the club? Yes. The Glazers are selling Manchester United. However, they put at the end of the statement, we're looking for either the full sale or investors to come in. So there's always the chance that they stay at United and we get new investors in. But I think it's edging towards, and I think Romano and Simon Stone touched upon this, it is edging towards the idea of new owners, because I think more people would rather buy Man United than give the Glazers a load of money and let them have power. Makes logical sense. So there's a very strong likelihood Man United will get new owners from Simon Stone and Fabrizio Romano, and this could happen before the end of the season. So who are the 2 leading candidates to buy United? So the teams closest, there's 2 candidates reportedly leading the race to be the next Manchester United owners. The first candidate is Dubai. Dubai are leading the race, leading the parties involved in buying Manchester United. So the first candidate reportedly leading the race to buy Manchester United is Dubai. The second is an American investment company. Now, the question is, we don't know lots about these Dubai people. We don't know lots about this American investment company. We just know Dubai are interested. We know American investment company interested. We know there's negotiations going on. We also know Jim Ratcliffe's interested. But a lot of reports coming out from, well-connected people in the Middle East are saying Dubai are leading the race. But there is also some reports that got leaked from a very good journalist who said that there's an American investment company very heavily involved with the Glazers, but there's non-disclosure agreements have been signed. The thing is, if non-disclosure agreements being signed is a normal thing about maybe the Glazers looking to sell United and all of that, but I do worry if the Glazers are keeping this American investment company so secret and so safe with non-disclosure agreements and all of that, and no one's revealed the exact name of the American investment company very close to, or not very close to, but in negotiations to buy United. I do have that slight fear that it's going to be someone where there's a negative reaction, and that's why they don't want it getting out there until it's nearly done. However, with the Glazers, do Dubai have more money than the American investment company? Potentially. So what do we know on Dubai? We'll touch upon Dubai, and then we'll touch upon the American investment company. So what do we know Dubai? So Dubai, according to well-connected sources in the Middle East, are leading the parties involved in buying United. And it seems to be that Dubai and the American investment company are the two closest in buying United, not Jim Ratcliffe. There are reports about the Saudis as well. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. So we obviously knew this from the past, that banks anticipate approaches from the Middle East, in particular Dubai, not to mention British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe. This is what we already know. But what also we do know about Dubai, God, it's a bit of a tongue twist here. What else we know about Dubai is it was said here by Mike Keegan of the Daily Mail that sovereign states are likely to be interested in Manchester United and Dubai is a serious contender. Now, before it was even announced that Man United would be up for sale, in September, Mike Keegan did a big report about Dubai in for United. So it's been spoken about in August and September that Dubai want United. We know that there was some talks between the Glazers and Dubai back in September for Manchester United. And I think, with Jim Ratcliffe, he obviously wants United. It's very public, but we know there's been a talks with Dubai and American investment companies for a while, which I believe is why sources are saying Dubai and American investment companies are the two people leading the race for Manchester United as well. Daniel Menz says no more American owners. Ideally, not American owners. I don't think all American owners would be awful, but I just think we want someone that really is passionate about football. And we know in the Middle East, they love the football. The Arab world absolutely love football. And, although there's a lot of controversy around the Qatar World Cup, people dying and stuff, if you look at the positives and not the negatives, this is a World Cup where people in the Arab world and Africa have really easy access to as well. And football is so big in Africa, Middle East. It's absolutely massive. So, and the thing about Dubai is there's some, there are questionable issues with whoever's going to be owner of United. No one's perfect. I know the Saudi prince had killed people, and we don't want someone who's pure evil. Every billionaire is going to come with some baggage as long as they're not Hitler, or someone as bad as Hitler, like some fascist dictator. I don't know. Every new owner of United is going to come with baggage, and a lot of people don't like the idea of Middle Eastern owners. And there is a stereotype that not all of them are awful. Not all American owners would be awful for Man United either. At the end of the day, I think all owners, whoever's going to become the next Man United owner, are a billionaire. There's going to be something a bit dodgy and a bit baggage. But for me, as long as they are passionate about Manchester United, passionate about football, and have the money to make this club great again, that is the most important thing. And as long as they're not a complete psychopath like Hitler or something, it's fine. Like, I don't think, Newcastle's owner is very controversial. Man City's a bit controversial, but not to the level of Newcastle, if you get what I mean. But for me, I would like Dubai. I keep wanting to say Dubai. I'm getting Dubai and Dubai mixed up, honestly. And American money isn't clean either. Glazers, slumlords, exactly. Did the Glazers actually go to Epstein Island, or is that a rumor? I'm always intrigued. Did someone make that up for banter? Because if someone made that up for banter, that's actually quite funny. But there's always Avery was spotted on Epstein Island. Does anyone know if that was actually a thing or not? I don't think it was, but I wouldn't be shocked. He does look like a bit of a nonce, Abraham Glazer. Not to accuse someone of being a nonce, but he does give off them Prince Andrew vibes a little bit, doesn't he? As well. And Knighton tweeted yesterday, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. What has he got to do with it, lol? I think Knighton, I'll be honest, Michael Knighton, I think he just wants attention. Now, I don't think he's all that. Honestly, I think that I don't know if he knows anything or he doesn't know anything. I mean, look, the thing is with me is I report the news, but I very rarely get actual news. 99% of the news I report on the channel is public news. And then every now and then I might get told something from someone like, this is happening. Like, I've been told a message privately in September and August being like, trust me, the Glazers were announced to sell this season. And I've said to you guys and done as a videos, like, I believe from what I know, the Glazers could likely sell in the next 2 years. But obviously, you know, some people do make up news or make up that they've been told loads. And I just think, be honest. Like, for me, 99% of the news I report, I get up on Twitter and I show you guys, and I show my guys in the video. But there are a lot of people that I think do shout a little bit of bullshit stuff as well. I mean, we do get clickbaited by journalists, and I'll report something and I'll be like, guys, this is looking good. And then I've realised this journalist is absolutely full of shit. But I think, you know, you just learn which journalists to trust or not, and take everything with a pinch of salt. You can't possibly become a billionaire without getting your hands dirty, exactly, as well. Qatar just was not the venue for the World Cup. If they hosted the World Cup in Africa, it would be winter, because African Cup of Nations is winter as well. You know what I'd like the World Cup to have been? I think, like, bringing the World Cup to the Middle East, Africa, is pretty cool in the sense of bringing it there. But it shouldn't have gone to Qatar, in my opinion, because that country is fucking hot. I think Morocco would have been the ideal Arab country to host the World Cup. Not just because they're doing well now, but I just think location, it's hot, but it's not ridiculously hot. I think Morocco would have been a really, really cool World Cup. I think the best place to host the World Cup, maybe because I'm biased, is England. Because, like, we've got Old Trafford, the Etihad, Anfield, Everton are building a fat, nice new stadium. Sunderland have got a good stadium. Newcastle got a new stadium. They'll probably build a new one soon. Spurs got a fantastic stadium. West Ham, not a big fan of the stadium because it's so far back, but it is still a big stadium. Wembley, of course, Stamford Bridge, Emirates, you know, Villa Park, even Sheffield United got a nice size stadium. You could go to the Wales Stadium. What's it called? You know, there's so many great stadiums in England that actually, or the UK. Let's clarify. I think a World Cup in the UK would be. I want a World Cup in the UK. Honestly, I really, really do. American World Cup might be all right, but I think UK would have been so nice. So because I didn't go to any of the Euros games. I'd let go of Rashford for 80-90 million, keep Garnacho for another 2-3 years and see what he became, because Rashford is playing well as a substitute for England and will not get much more money. I would keep Rashford because he's playing well in good form. You know, Sancho hasn't been very reliable. Anthony's been injured. Right now, I think Rashford's our most informed winger. So I personally wouldn't sell Rashford unless he wanted to go and didn't feel committed to United. I know a lot of people don't rate Rashford despite him getting back in form, but I know with Rashford, when he's on form, like, he's a very good player, and I highly rate Marcus Rashford. So I'd never sell Rashford or Garnacho. There's a lot of Man United players that a lot of people would sell that I would never sell. I wouldn't sell Luke Shaw. I'd renew Luke Shaw's contract. But that's my opinion, that everyone's like, no, Alice, you rate Luke Shaw. I do rate Luke Shaw. I really do rate Luke Shaw. And I do get stick for it, but I will stick with Luke Shaw. Big up Paul in the chat. Guys, make sure you smash that like button. And of course, go and subscribe down below if you're new as well. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more, please do subscribe. Next season, I want Leao, King, Vlahovic, Enzo, Frimpong, and Diogo Costa. I tell you what, that would be a very nice transfer window as well. But getting back into the news, getting back into the transfer news and all of that as well, I wanted to quickly address the Garnacho news. So, very, very reliable source here. I think they're a good source in terms of Spanish information, and Century Devils rate them, I think, a tier 1 source as well. They've been pretty on the money. Said that Real Madrid is interested in signing Garnacho. Real Madrid all of a sudden have a newfound interest in signing Alejandro Garnacho. And this is one, I think, where he'll stay at United, but I think this is one we've got to be careful about, because he is technically Spanish, although he plays for Argentina. He did come from Madrid. He might want to come back home. I think things are going well at United. And I think if you're Garnacho and you're breaking, it would make no sense for Garnacho to move this season. If you're Garnacho and you're breaking into the Man United side and you're signing, he's starting to get minutes for the Man United side, there's no point leaving at the end of the season. I think, I think to leave United, Garnacho would have to be starting week in, week out. And he knows if he goes to Real Madrid, he'd start. But, I think Garnacho very much is in a good place at United, where I think this season he's breaking into the team. He'll start a few games, he'll come off the bench a fair bit. I think like Rashford did in his first season, I think next season we'll actually see Garnacho start more and more. I think that would make no sense from Garnacho's perspective. Although we might like the idea of Madrid, I think it would make no sense. If you're breaking into United, you don't leave as you're breaking into a team. If you've established yourself in a team, you can leave. Or if you've not established yourself in a team, you can leave. But if you're in that very delicate phase, and I think Garnacho's going to be in this very delicate year where he's going to be in and out the United squad, breaking into it, it would be the worst time to leave United. So although some reports of Real Madrid wanting Garnacho from very good journalists and good sources of information, I don't think that Garnacho will go anywhere, and I don't think it makes logical sense for him to go anywhere. I know Ronaldo's left, and people joke, oh, now Ronaldo's left, Garnacho's going to leave too and do an interview because he loves Ronaldo and the banter. Garnacho, I'm not worried about. Dalot and Rashford, could potentially leave, and there's a lot of good clubs interested in Dalot and Rashford, and I think if we lost Dalot or Rashford on a free, it would be massive. But I do have trust that they believe in Ten Hag, they like the process, and they will put pen to paper. I feel like Rashford is a United boy through and through. It was also said, though, regarding Garnacho, and I will get back into the Dubai news. I haven't finished on the American investment company in Dubai, so I will get back into the new owner news, people, in just a second. But it was said at Manchester United they have high hopes for Garnacho, their new dual, and they've already met with their representatives more than one occasion, as well as with their family, to seal the contract improvements. So Man United very much work on that new contract with Garnacho, and I don't think that he will be going anywhere. We will dive back into new owner news in just a second as well. For all the talk, I'm surprised that no ex-player, especially the class of '92, is being involved in forming a consortium to save their beloved club. There's rumours that Beckham is involved in solving some kind of consortium to buy United, but I don't think that's the case as well. Abraham Glazer, Donald Trump, and Epstein have properties all close to each other from an article online. We do know that. I don't know if the Glazers were associated with Epstein. I mean, do you think, this was just a question, which is really inappropriate and unrelated, did you think if there was evidence that, I don't know, Ghislaine Maxwell decided to just come out in fucking prison one day and be like, Avi Glazer's a nonce, or there was some kind of evidence that Aaron Glazer was a nonce, even though they're looking to sell United, do you think they'd have to sell United, or they'd be under more pressure to sell United? Like, if it came out they were actually a nonce. Like, I feel like surely, you know, not that I want them to be a nonce, because that wouldn't be fair, and that means someone's had to actually, touch them, poor person. But do you think, like, if shit like that actually came out and was proved, do you think that would actually be an easy way to get rid of them? Hopefully they're selling anyway. I've always thought that as well. Morocco's in Africa, yeah. Morocco, fucking brilliant at the World Cup at the moment as well. Australia would be cool. Australia's a country I've always wanted to go to, and they're the World Cup. Would definitely use that as an excuse to travel around Australia, if I had the money and at the time. United wants Summer as a De Gea replacement, and Simon, Unai Simon. Look, I'll be honest, Summer won't be a De Gea replacement. It'll be a Dean Henderson replacement. I'm going to get into that in a second. Summer is not better than De Gea. Jan Sommer, I'm sorry, he's 33. He's not better than De Gea. De Gea replacement, you're looking at your Sanchez, your Raya, you're looking at your Diogo Costa. You're not looking at fucking Jan Sommer on a free as De Gea replacement. You know what? Dean Henderson's going. Dean Henderson does not want to come back to United. Dean Henderson's going, and Dean Henderson will probably get a £25 million move to Leicester City. I reckon Dean Henderson will go to Leicester City, actually. You know what? Because they've got that wall guy on goal. Yeah, watch it. Dean Henderson will go to Leicester City, or some mid-lower table Premier League club will get about 20 mil for him. Well, if any club would get about 25 mil for him, we'll probably get 10 mil because we're incompetent. And then I think we'll bring in Jan Sommer to replace Dean Henderson. I think De Gea's contract will be extended a year. I think maybe if new owners will go big for a goalkeeper like Diogo Costa and a long-term De Gea replacement, but I think De Gea would have his contract extended a year, and I think the summer after we'd be going in for the likes of Diogo Costa or someone. I don't think that summer would displace David De Gea, even though David De Gea is not Ten Hag's ideal keeper. I don't think David De Gea has been particularly poor as well. I want a World Cup across different cities, across a regional or continental, like Euro 2020. A European trip would be pretty fun as well. And Alice, we valued 2.5 billion. It came out today. I think we will get brought for more than that. Yeah, the Glazers won't sell for double the value. The Glazers all about money and business, and there's no way United goes for less than £4 billion as well. Alice, what's your thoughts on Amad Diallo? I did want to talk about Amad Diallo, actually. Amad Diallo has been nominated for Championship Player of the Month, people. Been playing really, really well for Sunderland. Really like him. Amad Diallo has been very impressive for Sunderland. Hannibal Mejbri's had some decent spells at Birmingham, some decent games. I don't know how he's doing now, but the first couple of games I watched of Alvaro Fernandez for Preston, he was good, but I couldn't give you an update on how he's doing now. But Amad Diallo has been really impressive this last month. Had a slow start, but he's really picked up the pace this last month, which I'm really, really happy to see. Do you know one thing I'm not happy to see is I've barely seen James Garner yet at Everton. I thought we'd see a bit more of him. That'd be an interesting one as well. Have to give it to countries that have proper facilities is key. Look at Brazil, spent billions on some abandoned stadiums, such a waste. Yeah, it is a shame. It is a shame. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the chat. So just if you have a question for me, just repeat it and put it in the chat again, because I'm quite a few minutes behind on live chat as well. But I do want to get into some more news as well. But DMW says, believe the Middle Eastern potential owners would want to rock the boat upon the takeover will remain status quo to potential recruit. I think the people who are interested in United are remaining very quiet, but we know the two leading parties are Dubai, someone in Dubai, and the US investment company are the two people winning the United race as well. But the US investment company, we don't know if that's new owners or just investors to give the Glazers funds where they keep power. Real Madrid want our players. Sure, they could have Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Donny, Deadly McFred combo for 50 million plus Valverde. Do you know what? It's annoying. Real Madrid are interested in. Real Madrid have their eye on Garnacho, Lisandro Martinez, and Bruno Fernandes. Because Man United started to play well, Real Madrid are looking at. Oh, I like that Garnacho. Oh, I like that Lisandro Martinez. Oh, I like that Bruno Fernandes. Fuck off, Madrid. PSG. Oh, I like Rashford. Why doesn't someone want to buy Wan-Bissaka? Why doesn't someone want to buy Fred? Why doesn't someone actually want to buy the players they're trying to get rid of? It's so frustrating, and hopefully I cannot wait until new owners come in and get rid of the board where we actually have all the deadwood gone and all the incompetent players won't be on 200k a week or something stupid doing nothing. I think Harry Kane obviously extended his contract, but I remember there was a thing a couple of years ago where Phil Jones was actually earning more money a week than Harry Kane just to sit on the injury thing. All Phil Jones has done is tested our injury staff, making sure our injury staff are working. That's all he's done these last few years as well. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water, and then I want to dive into some more news, people. Someone said something. Let me scroll up. Would you sell Bruno and get Maddison as a replacement? No, not. I like Maddison, and I think there was moments where he's been better than Bruno in the last year. But when Bruno's in form, he's one of the best players in the world, and we can't deny that. His play style's frustrating, but I've watched him play for Portugal. I think his first few games under Ten Hag, he wasn't great. But I think the last 5-6 games under Eric Ten Hag, Bruno's been fantastic. And Bruno for Portugal, I think, has been the best player at the World Cup. I think Bruno's been really impressive lately. And do you know what I've noticed about Bruno? Is he's not treating the ball like a hot potato. When Bruno had the ball in their pass, he would treat it like a hot potato and is desperate to make things happen. Bruno still takes risks, and I like that. I'd rather Bruno take risks and lose the ball occasionally than pass it backwards. I think anyone would. But he seems much more disciplined, and he's doing really, really well at the moment for Portugal, and he's looked well in our few games. So as things continue now, I'm very happy with Bruno at Manchester United as well. Man United should buy Bono, Moroccan keeper, doing good at World Cup. He is doing really good. Morocco defensively is brilliant. And at least Middle Eastern candidates like Dubai want the prestige of owning us and taking us back to the top. Can't see American Investment Fund wanting the same exactly. And I think that's why Dubai pip it for me in terms of United owners, because they are obviously the ones that obviously have a bit of interest in taking that back to the top as well. Russ the King says United is not the power they used to be. These teams know if they make it known that they want our players, they will want to leave and win trophies potentially. But I think a lot of the players at Man United believe Ten Hag is building something. Whilst people want Garnacho and whilst people want Rashford, Lisandro Martinez, and Bruno, there are 4 players I can confidently say, you know what, they're very happy at Manchester United. The way they're talking, it seems like they're very, very happy at Manchester United. The things they're coming out and saying about Manchester United, the project, Ten Hag, I believe all those players are very happy at Manchester United. I don't think they'd be that tempted to leave. I think if new owners came in and were like, yo, Rashford, you want to go to PSG, you want to stay in under new ownership, I'm pretty sure Rashford would stay. So I think big teams do want Man United players, but I'm confident that our players will stay as well. And Felix, to me, is a brilliant technical player, just doesn't seem much of a goal scorer creator type. I feel like we need a player that's got a bit more goals in the system. But I saw João Felix the other day for Portugal, and I thought he was really good as well. Real Madrid want Bruno, Garnacho, and Casemiro back soon. They'll just want Ten Hag as well. Real Madrid just want to be us. You know what? But anyway, let's get back into some news. Let's get into the transfer news, people. We touched upon the De Gea story. Actually, let me get this up, because before I even get into the transfer news, United Active tweeted something I very much agree with. So I will get it up on the screen here. After the World Cup, Man United's priorities is a new contract for Rashford and a new contract for Dalot. Absolutely, they deserve it. To sign Cody Gakpo, and the Glazers to sell the club by the summer. Now, if all 4 of these are achieved, that's a good thing. If all 4 of these are achieved, I think we're in a good position come the summer. So that is United's priorities, and I completely agree with United Active. And I thought I'd show you that. Now, Fabrizio Romano has given a big Cody Gakpo update, people. This is what Fabrizio Romano has had to say regarding Cody Gakpo. For fuck's sake, why is he not loading? Wi-Fi. There we go. Oh, it's gone. All right, well, we'll just use this one. Manchester United is still in talks with people close to Cody Gakpo. It's not just them. PSV's plan had been to keep Gakpo this January and then sell in the summer, but a €50 million bid, which is £42 million, comes in January. There's a chance for him to leave. Basically, Romano is saying United want Gakpo. They're talking to Gakpo's representatives. Romano's basically hinted that, Gakpo would agree personal terms with United because he did in the summer. Basically, if United want Gakpo, they have to go to PSV and just slap them with £42 million, which United won't want to do, but they saved about £18 million on Ronaldo. They could save £7-8 million on Wan-Bissaka, and then you just got to see that spending 20 million in January. Do United want to spend in January? No. Are United in a position where Cody Gakpo has been brilliant? That they want to get top 4, they want to improve the price for new owners? Yes. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that, look, Man United are in talks. There are other teams in talks. Because there's other teams in talks, Man United can't afford to fuck about with the price of Gakpo. I reckon if we went up to PSV and we gave them 50 million for Gakpo, they'd be like, all right, cool. And I think it could be a done deal. I honestly do. Joe says, whoever the new owner is, it better be one that puts money in to make Man United a great football team and not one that makes Man United into a business or company. 100% agree as well. So that is the news on Gakpo. Romano has confirmed, yes, Manchester United is still in talks with Cody Gakpo. Fabrizio Romano did speak upon the Garnacho leaving rumours and more, and United's plans for Garnacho, who obviously is going to have a very big role in the squad. He said that Erik ten Hag is really happy with Garnacho's development. He's doing well in training. He's part of the present and future plans. The idea is for Man United to extend his contract soon, possible negotiations ongoing. And I think, this has come out today because Real Madrid have gone public with their interest with Garnacho, trying to negotiate something to get Garnacho at Real Madrid. But Ten Hag is very, very happy with Alejandro Garnacho's development. There was a few issues at the start, but he's come and he's done really well, and he's part of the current plan at United. And I think with Garnacho, Jadon Sancho has gone off to the Netherlands to do an intense training camp because he's realised as things stand, Garnacho starts over him. Jadon Sancho really focused getting back to his best. Anthony is a good player in there. He'll overcome his injury. Rashford's getting back to his best. Garnacho's been great. Our options are going to be Rashford and Garnacho on the left wing, Anthony and Sancho on the right wing, and Martial and potentially Gakpo or Felix or Depay, whoever we sign up front. And I think if you've got 2 left wingers, 2 right wingers, and 2 strikers, and obviously a lot of those players can mould across the front three, that we're in a good position. I don't want to be in a position where we're like, shit, Anthony Elanga's got to start. Because I watched Anthony Elanga yesterday versus Cadiz. Fucking Cadiz. He's not good. He has potential to be good. He's very young and he's got the right mentality. He's got the right work rate. He's got the right attitude. But Anthony Elanga is a guy that I say needs a loan in the Championship. And Anthony Elanga is a guy who kind of reminds me of the Pereira kind of player. A guy I could see his career being a Fulham player. A decent player, but not an amazing player. That's what I'd say about Anthony Elanga. He didn't have that Garnacho flair. Like, even when Anthony Elanga first came through, I was like, look, he works hard, he's all right, but he never, like, you watch Garnacho's first game, you're like, Garnacho is special. You watch Elanga and you're like, yeah, he works hard, but we never gave Elanga the kind of hype we gave Garnacho or Greenwood or any of that. But I do like Elanga, but I don't want to be in a position where United don't sign anyone in January and we've got to start Elanga at number 9. Like, he's not a number 9. He can score the odd goal here and there, but he's not the best player. Whereas with Garnacho, when he starts, he's scary. Like, even though we were crap versus Cadiz, Garnacho, Sedan Iqbal, and Kobe Mainoo were the 3 players that were at least putting a 6 out of 10 performance and at least look like they can do something. And I think they're the 3 probably most exciting youth academy prospects. I think that obviously Amad Diallo on loan, Palestri's got potential. Hannibal Mejbri is going to be some talent. I think that Marc Jurado and Alvaro Fernandez, the fullbacks we've got from Real Madrid and Barcelona, will be some talent as well. But Garnacho definitely the standout youth talent at Manchester United as well. Elanga definitely needs a loan. I would almost Elanga should have Tyrion Willis a full aggressor. I agree. I would almost bring in Gakpo if we can in January and send Elanga out on loan. Like, I don't think Elanga's a bad player. I think he could be a player that maybe plays for United, has 2 years on loan, and maybe he's a bench player for United and will do the job when needed and come off the bench and fill in a role if needed and just be a squad rotation player for United. I think he could be one of those. But I don't think I'd be very surprised if Elanga becomes like a fucking star. But I do think he's got potential in him to be a use, but I think he 100% needs a loan. Garnacho's the next big thing in football. He's super talented. I agree. I generally, and I don't like hyping up youth players, but we all do it. My computer's frozen, guys, so I do apologise. For some reason, I can't click on the chat, so I have a feeling we're going to cut out. I don't know if you can hear. I swear, if StreamYard's going to lose connection, I'm going to lose it. Please tell me I'm not going to cut out, because I can't click on the chat, and this sometimes happens when StreamYard cuts out. But hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, talking of Garnacho, he's one of the few youth players that you look at and they have something about them. Now, I thought Angel Gomez would be special. I was wrong about that one. But I never really hyped up Chong. If you've watched me for a while, I've never seen the Tahith Chong hype. I was like, you know what? There's something about Chong I don't completely rate. I wasn't sure about Tahith Chong. Right, I'm back. I just knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen, people. Like my StreamYard, every now and then it loses connection, which means it just freezes for a second. So I do I've just shared the wrong screen. I do apologise for that. But back onto the talking point. So I'm really sorry that cut out. Really, freaking hate StreamYard. Really sorry that cut out. But back onto the talking point. Chong, I never really rated. I watched Chong a bit in academy. I was like, he's all right, but he never sold me. Greenwood and Gomez, Angel Gomez, were the two players, 3 years ago that I was like, nah, these guys are special. And Greenwood could have been. I think Angel Gomez is still a decent player, and I think we could have potentially be talking about him in a few years. This current youth academy, Sedan Iqbal's got something in him, and I think he's a player that could work very well in Ten Hag's system. But I think, Kobe Mainoo, the current youth academy player, is probably someone in 2-3 years. He gives me that Pogba vibe. Kobe Mainoo gives me that Pogba vibe. I actually rate Kobe Mainoo more than I rated Hannibal Mejbri. But Garnacho is one. I think, we've had problems. We've had Rashford breakthrough, and then we had Greenwood breakthrough, and I think Garnacho is that next breakthrough star. You can just see it. Like Alanga comes in, scores a few goals, but I think we all knew he's a decent player, but we knew he wasn't the guy. There's something about Garnacho, just the way he breaks through, and where he just kind of knew it was the guy. We are back. How long did that cut out for, people? Because I think I must have cut out for a good 30 seconds, so I do apologise as well. But we are back in the chat. Not sure what happened, but just StreamYard glitching as well. So what owners close to buying? So reports are coming out from good business companies and stuff that the two front runners to buy United are Dubai. I keep wanting to say Dubai for some reason. Are Dubai and obviously American investors. They've not announced the specific name. They're just like there's an American investment company in Dubai, very in negotiations with United, more likely than Ratcliffe, more likely than people, and they are very much leading the race and closest to become Manchester United owners. We do want to get more into some news, though. We just touched upon the Cody Gakpo situation. Regarding João Felix, Atletico Madrid are trying to get more money for João Felix and then they pay for him, which I think is absolutely outrageous because João Felix flopped at Atletico Madrid. I've been saying this for a while. João Felix is a good player, and I believe in an attacking system he'll be a really good player. But João Felix doesn't scream goals. João Felix doesn't scream assists. João Felix is a decent player. Do I rate João Felix? Yes. Would I like João Felix at Manchester United? Yes. He is a good, decent player. But when I watch João Felix, the guy doesn't scream goals. The guy, hasn't been good for Atletico Madrid. There's problems there. He wants to leave. He's forcing a move. There's no way Atletico Madrid are going to get 100 million for João Felix when he's forcing a move and he's flopped for them. I think it's absolutely outrageous, the ask of Atletico Madrid for João Felix. But we are back as well, people. I'm sorry that it did cut out. It was only cut out for about 10 seconds, Steve said. So that is fine as well. And we are top of the league. You are, but hopefully not for long. Hopefully not for long. What do I think about Jadon Sancho? I want to get into a news story in a second, but we will touch upon Jadon Sancho because I still got more news to get into. I tell you what, today is the day of fucking news. I've got about 3 other news stories to come into regarding Dubai, regarding transfers, and regarding, Ten Hag and stuff. So what do I think of Sancho? Well, Eric Ten Hag said, you need the right characters in your dressing room, not only if you want to win games, but win trophies. And I think Jadon Sancho, the fact that he's gone out to the Netherlands and he's working really hard on getting back to his best, he's working with coaches recommended by Ten Hag, he's deleted social media and all of that. I think Jadon Sancho has very much taken on board Ten Hag's advice of, you need to stay focused. Any distractions from football, get rid of that. Social media is not helping you. Social media has knocked Sancho's confidence. I generally believe social media is one of the reasons for the decline in Sancho past the Euros. I'm not making an excuse for Sancho. But okay, Sancho and Southgate don't have the best relationship. Southgate barely used Sancho at the Euros because I think he was late for England training and Southgate was put off by that. Fair enough. But Sancho comes in a Euro final and he misses a penalty. And social media, the abuse was absolutely horrific. Like, how can you blame the colour of someone's skin for missing a penalty? It makes absolutely no sense. And I think anyone that gave Sancho abuse is just a low-life waste of space. He's probably unemployed and fat and ugly. But moving past that, so Sancho got all this racist, horrific abuse, and him and Rashford really suffered. And he moves to Man United in a new league, and he's got to move to a new league, a new club, and completely adapt while having this horrible racist abuse from the Euros. He's paying attention to social media, and everyone, I feel like when he moved to United, all the rivals wanted to fail. He doesn't get a goal or assist in his first 7 games. Bear in mind, he starts maybe 3 or 4 of those, and there's those 007 memes coming up. And after 3 or 4 games, they're like, Sancho shit. So after what's happened in the Euros, And 3 or 4 games, social media's like Sancho shit. They make him a laughing stock. Sancho not in the England squad. Ha! Sancho, no goals, no assists. Ha! Look at Sancho's stats. Ha! And I think social media really knocks Sancho's confidence. I think he's a player that's active on social media. He's my age. He's a social media guy. He's gone from being the best 19-year-old. Like, at 19, he was getting 20 goals, 20 assists in the Bundesliga. Whether it's the Farmers League or not, like, he's one of the best 19-year-olds there was. Like, that is absolutely insane. And being at the top of the world, like, he was the Bellingham. Sancho was the Bellingham of 2 seasons ago. Thinking this is a world-class talent, this is the future. And it's gone to United and it's not started well, and he's had his confidence knocked, and people are laughing at him on social media. And I think Ten Hag said, focus on family, focus on football, get off social media, it's knocking your confidence. Reading all this negative stuff about you, reading Ryanair joking that you don't get picked up for England, what confidence is that doing to you, Sancho? I mean, that's what Ten Hag was kind of relaying on Sancho. What good is that doing? What confidence is that doing to you, Sancho? And I mean that Sancho's now goal is to just really stay focused on football. I think Sancho's kind of got his head down. He really wants to stay focused on the footballing side of the game. And, he's now working really hard. He didn't go on this nice trip to Spain, warm weather. He's gone to the Netherlands, cold weather, working hard. I want to be back in the United squad. Look, Garnacho's coming. He's brilliant. We might get Gakpo. I need to challenge Anthony for that right wing spot. I need to do something. I'm not in the England squad. I was the Jude Bellingham 2 years ago. He was 19, fantastic for Dortmund. And I think it's been a hard time for Sancho. And I think that he is a good player. I think he will be a good player. I think he's going to come back this season. I think he's going to be good under Ten Hag. I think, you're not that good at 19 if there's nothing in you. I think he needs his confidence back. I think he needs a run of games. I think he needs a run of good form. I do think Sancho, a bit of it's confidence now. I think he needs to find his best role in Ten Hag's system, which I don't think is on the left wing. I think he's too slow. I think he could be better deployed central or on the right. But I think a lot of it was Sancho, and I will say that again, is confidence. And I really like Jadon Sancho, and I do believe he'll be a good player. Felix will be a good centre forward. He just needs a good players and experience behind him to assist him. I do agree with that as well. I mean, guys, what do you think of Sancho down below? How are you feeling about Sancho? I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom of the live chat. Social media is very toxic. It doesn't matter who you are. I think, especially this day and age, I think the players spend a lot of time reading what's written about them on social media. I think Ronaldo sits on social media and takes to heart what's written about him. Like, that Piers Morgan interview said to me that Ronaldo was kind of maybe insecure about what's written about social media. I know a lot of stuff are lies that are written about Ronaldo on social media, but some of the things Ronaldo said in his interview, I was like, you need to stop paying attention to social media. Like, everyone knows that they make up things with your name. And I think a lot of Man United players especially do take on board what's said on social media a lot about them. And I think it knocks confidence. I think, if you're hyped up too much, players get a bit of an ego. But if you're in a low spot, I think social media is the worst place. Like, I remember Rashford of last season, and I've never given Rashford stick. I've said Rashford's poor. I don't know what's up with Rashford. He's not been good. I've criticised Rashford when he's been poor. I've criticised Bruno when he's been poor. I'll criticise every player when they've been poor. But I never started going Trashford. And last season, look, he was rubbish. And we can all admit he was rubbish. But I never started going Trashford. But people, if he posted something on Instagram, PR merchant, Trashford, focus on football, you shit. It's not good. Like, it's not that there are players, and I always say this, whether it's Maguire, who we want to go, or Rashford or Bruno, it doesn't matter who the player is. Do not, and if you're a United fan, you do not comment on their Instagram shit. You're shit, leave. Okay? You don't. We can criticise Rashford wasn't good today, disappointed. Rashford was poor today, disappointing. Rashford's been rubbish for 6 months. Hope he gets back to his best. But Trashford, you shit, leave our club. I hate it. I hate it when people do that. You know what? Do I think Maguire should leave? Yeah, I think that it would be better for him and us if he left and we got a new centre-back in. But I'd never comment on Maguire's Instagram, go leave, or tweet, and say, oh, Maguire, go fuck off from our club. My thought process is, if Maguire got back into the team and he deserved to be playing for the team and found form, brilliant. At the end of the day, all I want for our players is them to be as good as they can for United. And I think, you can criticise them, you can say they're shit, you can say maybe it's better for them to leave, maybe the move's better for their career. But it's when people just actually comment full on abuse at people, and I don't like that. I think it knocks down confidence. Get Gakpo and Gonzalo Ramos and sell Sancho and Martial. Very much acting on the moment. I mean, look, I'm not too familiar with Gonzalo Ramos, but he does look like a very, very good player, doesn't he? I'm just going to take a quick sip of water, people. Carl Dickinson says, I think Sancho will make a comeback and prove the hate is wrong. I agree with you, Carl, as well. Rashford was crap for 18 months before turning it around. Sancho deserves some time to thrive under Ten Hag. Exactly. Rashford was crap for 18 months. And I want to say something about the 18 months Rashford was crap for. People do forget that Marcus Rashford had an injury. one thing I would defend Rashford and Martial on was Ollie's man management of them was absolutely awful. You know, he was playing Rashford and Martial injured. He was too reliant on them. And playing Rashford and Martial injured further worsened their injury, and they were playing in pain. And because they were playing in pain, they couldn't play as well. And because they weren't playing as well, they were getting hate. They were losing confidence. I tell you this now, Ollie, and I like Ollie, but not as a manager, he drove Rashford and Martial into the ground. And Ten Hag is managing very carefully. Martial, if he's not the slightest bit fit, he doesn't go near that pitch. Because Ten Hag knows it's about confidence and fitness with Rashford and Martial. And Rashford had a poor 18 months, but he was injured and playing in pain for nearly half of that. And Rashford was silly. He wanted to go to the Euros, and I don't blame him. But when Rashford was at the Euros, he was in pain. In training every day was in pain. Not only was he in pain because he was injured and playing with an injury, but it was in a poor situation. You know, United was completely toxic last season. I think mentally he wasn't in a great place. And obviously, after the Euros, he got a surgery, all of that as well, got a bit better. But I think one of the reasons Rashford was poor was injury. And I think that is to Ollie. And Martial and Rashford have both come out about this and said they played injured and they were playing in so much pain when injured, like so much pain. It was so hard. So they weren't going to play as well because it just hurt. You couldn't run as fast or kick the ball as hard. And they said that affects their form. And when their form's affected, it affects their confidence as well. People saying Sancho scores stunning goals against big clubs, though. Those Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool ones were class. I think we need to see Sancho on the right wing. But Sancho is a 10. I think Sancho could be good as a 10 as well. Guys, keep smashing the like button. And, of course, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. Rashford wants 400k a week to extend his contract. Does he really? That's ridiculous. I don't think he'll ask for that much. That would be crazy. Please do subscribe down below if you're new to the channel. I go live every single evening on the channel. So if you do want to if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football as well, because I do daily content as well. Ollie at the wheel. Rashford should go to PSG. It might be a really good move for him as well. If it's a Rashford and Mbappe swap deal, maybe. I can see Sancho competing with Antony for minutes on the right. I hadn't realised how one-footed Antony was before we got him. Yeah. In my opinion, Sancho and Antony on the right, because I think Sancho on the left, on the left, he's got to kind of beat his players, cut in and make that shot. And on the right, I don't think he has to think as much. He doesn't need to rely on his pace as much. He can just put in a good cross. So for me, I'd say Sancho very much on the right-hand side for me, competing with Antony. I thought he was very good on the right-hand side of pre-season. I thought Sancho was playing his best in pre-season. And we saw glimpses. I thought Sancho was going to have a really good season because I could see what he did in pre-season. Sancho, for me, on the right-hand side, competing with Antony. Martial and the new signing competing for the centre-forward role. And then Rashford and Garnacho on the left. Because most of the players can play on the left anyway. But that, for me, is how it should go as well. Rashford should have gone to surgery instead of going to the Euros. Absolutely. And the money for Rashford, we should invest in Gakpo, Osimhen. I wouldn't sell Rashford, and the money we'd get for Rashford is nothing because he would go to PSG on a free because he's out of contract in the summer. But I believe United will extend that as well. Rashford is a United fan from Manchester. I don't believe he wants to move. I don't think he will go. I think he will use PSG to try and get the best contract he can. And I think last season when things were really shit for Rashford, I don't think he ever intended on going to PSG. I think he was using that to scare United into giving him a new contract because he knew he weren't playing well for United. I think Rashford will use PSG to get an upgraded contract as well. Everybody in the chat, I've got a question to ask you. I want everybody in the chat to put down below their ideal January signing, but realistic. Do not say Neymar or something. Your ideal, realistic January signing. If you could only sign one player, would it be Felix? Would it be Gakpo? Would it be a midfielder maybe for 30-40 million pounds like Benaker that could be available? Would it be someone under the radar? Someone that's not really going to cost more than 60 million? Who is your ideal January transfer? I've got a few more stories to get into as well. Dean Henderson does not want to return to Manchester United is coming out, and I think the summer links are to replace Dean Henderson. I think Dubravka is shit, I'll be honest. I think Man United have realised Dubravka is absolute shit as well. But I want to talk about a report on the boy Anthony Martial, who's, I think, a player that I think could have a big, massive second half of the season if he stays fit. It was said that Anthony Martial impressed Erik ten Hag early on with his attitude and intensity in training. He liked the way he integrated into the team and combined with the players around him. He also saw he was a popular player in the dressing room. It was also said regarding Anthony Martial, it said that New Anthony Martial is training well and wants to play. He insisted he was ready to start against Everton in October, but had to come off after 29 minutes. Erik ten Hag and his staff are very strong-willed person with a special talent. So, you know, Martial, I think, is going to be a big part of the future. A lot of people saying Gakpo for Frimpong. I think a lot of people going towards Gakpo. Some people say Lautaro and Martinez. I think Gakpo is the ideal thing. Felix would be nice. A midfielder would be nice as well. I'd let Rashford go on a free or keep him as backup for Felix, Gakpo, Garnacho. He's not Man U quality. I disagree with that, but everyone's allowed their opinion. Someone said Ivan Toney. I like Ivan Toney, but I'm a bit worried about what this betting situation is. Is he going to get a big ban from football? I think Ivan Toney should have gone to the Euros, but I think that betting situation fucked it. João Felix, Toney, Gakpo. Yeah, I think a lot of people. Rafael Leao says David. Leao's a player that's been linked to United. Leao's a ball. I tell you what, Portugal have a good squad. That Portugal squad that's coming up is absolutely balling. I'm not just talking about, you know, Bruno and the obvious names, but they had like Leao to come off the bench. They had that Goncalo Ramos that scored a hat trick. Like Portugal, let me get this up. They've got good talents. Portugal World Cup squad, like in attack as well. Why is it so zoomed in? What the fuck? Oh, for my watch long. So if we look at the Portugal team. There we go. And what the 6-1, mate. Morocco have been good defensively, and I think Portugal win. I wanted to actually talk about it. People are saying Portugal won because Ronaldo didn't play. This is the first time the Portugal managers played 1 DM and 2 attacking midfielders as well. So of course they're going to create more chances and score more goals. But I mean, look, they had Goncalo Ramos, João Felix, and Bruno as a front three. They've also got Bernardo Silva. And then you look at the Portugal bench. There's the obvious is Ronaldo, and there's Leao, and Vitinha's moved to PSG. You know, Portugal have got a mad underrated squad, and I think now they've had some injuries to DMs. They're actually going to have to play Carvalho in a 4-3-3. I will say this though, looking at the World Cup people, we've got Netherlands, Argentina tomorrow. I think this is going to be well close. Louis van Gaal, very defensive. I think Argentina will dominate the ball, and I think it will be a moment of Messi or Argentina individual brilliance to get there, because I think Argentina do have the more individual brilliance over the Netherlands. But I think this could be a 0-0, 1-0. I can't see there being a lot of goals in Argentina, Netherlands tomorrow. Croatia, Brazil. I think Brazil will win 2-3-0. I think Brazil will be quite comfortable. England, France. I can't predict this one. There's a part of me that can see England doing something, hitting them on the break maybe. I think France's fullbacks are weak. I think defensively France are a bit weak, but on attack they're unstoppable. Dembele. But England are quite good defensively, and England are quite combatant. And Southgate's quite defensive. That this could counter-attack France, and England could win, but I would say 2-1 France. And then I would say Morocco, Portugal. I think Portugal will win that 1-0, but I think Morocco will make it difficult. I reckon Portugal, France. I pick Portugal. Brazil, Argentina. I pick Brazil. I reckon it's going to be a Portugal-Brazil final, which would mean 6 Man United players, or technically 5 because Ronaldo's left, would be involved in the World Cup final as well. Who will Man United next owner? Someone's spamming. We need Benjamin Sesko, Gakpo, Antonio Silva. Fucking hell. Yeah, it'd be nice to sign a lot of players. Next owner likely to be someone American or Dubai, I believe, as well. England, France, 1-1. Could go to penalties. I think England, France is going to be a close one as well. I'd rather take Osimhen over Leao. I'd love Osimhen, but he won't be available to summer, and I think he's going to be stupidly overpriced as well. We're just going to have to... Someone's bloody spamming. But if Gakpo doesn't do well as a striker, then we are back to scratch. Well, Gakpo's coming in, not as to be a striker. Like, let's be clear on Cody Gakpo. I like Cody Gakpo. I think he's a fantastic player. And I think Cody Gakpo is the player Manchester United should sign. But I also know that Cody Gakpo isn't a striker. Okay? He can play striker. He's playing centre forward for the Netherlands, the strike partnership. But he's more of an inverted left forward. But he's a versatile player that can play across the front three. The reason I aim towards getting Gakpo is because, yes, he can play as a centre forward. Yes, he can play across that front three for United. And I think he's a player that's going to add depth, that can provide backup to Martial and Rashford and start for United anywhere in that front three and get us through to the end of the season. So hopefully we're in a position when we get top 4 and then we can get the long-term striker in, and Gakpo would then be more of a left winger. For Gakpo, he's coming in to do a job because the strikers we want aren't available, and he can do that role very well and very flexible, and Ten Hag wanted him in the summer. But he wouldn't come in to be our long-term striker. He'd come in to get us to January and be a long-term versatile player. In terms of a long-term striker, I think that is when we'd look at, your Osimhens, your Vlahovic's in summer as well. Argentina would lose because Lautaro Martinez can't shoot. He's been missing a few sitters. I think, you know what? Netherlands don't create a lot of chances. I think, to be fair, it's who takes their chances. I think it's going to be very compact, Netherlands, Argentina. I do think a large part of it will be like, yeah, but who takes their chances? But I mean, I'd love England to win the World Cup. I know that's such an obvious thing to say, but I absolutely love England to win the World Cup, people. France and Portugal, and then probably Brazil in the final, or Argentina. I think, you know, winning the World Cup would be so difficult. But I wanted to talk about United players at the World Cup. You got obviously here Varane clearing it on the line. You got Lisandro Martinez stopping Australia, getting an equaliser to make it 2-2. And you've got Dalot clearing it on the line. Like, it's in the United DNA. They've been absolutely fantastic this World Cup. And I think we've got the most players still left in the World Cup. We've got Fred, Antony, Casemiro, Bruno, Dalot, Varane, Rashford, Maguire, Shaw, Martinez, and Malacia. Man United have got more players than any other team left in the World Cup. You know, it's been the Man United World Cup, and I saw something on Twitter, if I can find it. Here it is. Bruno's obviously been brilliant in the World Cup, but look, Bruno in the last 5 years averaged a goal or assist every 110 minutes. I think the disrespect he gets is insane. Southgate's statue if he wins the World Cup. I've been critical of Southgate, but if he wins the World Cup, he can have a statue. Also, I have to say, since Jude Bellingham's gone in that Mason Mount role, how much better have England been? I am sorry, Mason Mount. I like Mason Mount, but for England, I don't understand why he starts so much. He's never been brilliant for England, and I can never get my head around why Mason Mount would start over the likes of Bellingham and Foden. Bellingham, I think, you know, is so good in that more advanced role. Now Southgate is using Bellingham properly in that more advanced role. He has been so good. Garnacho's not leaving, just Real Madrid wants him, and there's a potential he could leave, but I don't think he will leave. Just to clarify that as well. And don't judge Lautaro Martinez for a few misses, of course. Someone says, when will we sell the club? Do you have any guesses? Before spring. Why are people spamming though? Can we stop spamming in the chat? I should have put the 20-second timer on. So reportedly, people wanted to know who the new owners is. It's most likely to be to buy American investors, and it's most likely to happen by spring. We'll either get investors in that work with the Glazers, and that, you know, they're just part of the Glazers, and we just get new investors in, or we get brand new owners. But the reported rumours are that Dubai and America set to be leaving the race. To summarise today's video, people, to give you a summary on the news, the party closest to buying United is reportedly Dubai, followed by American investors that are involved in talks with the Glazers. It's also been said that Rashford and Garnacho could leave on a free if United do not sort out their new contracts, with interest from PSG and Real Madrid. We've got to be very careful with that as well. And then we obviously spoke upon the World Cup and more news. I just want to thank everyone for tuning into today's live stream. If there's any interesting news tomorrow, I will be live. There's a video out tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow evening, depending on how much news comes out, there'll be a live stream or a video. So do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new people. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and bye.